Hi, this is Bob Hall with Hallsome Farm. We're here at Kaylin, and Phil is behind the camera. We'll get him out here in a minute at their home. I started doing aquaponics and some of the stuff that I'm showing back in 2009. And Phil and Kaylin, they built their aquaponics system in 2011, and they've incorporated some food forest and other things that I wanted to show you today. And I do my stuff commercially, they just do it for a healthy lifestyle, and just wanted to show what's possible in somebody's backyard. I'm going to start it right now. Kaylin has, now also understand this is the end of June, July 4th of July this weekend. So it's like 100 degrees out, it's hot, the gardens are kind of suffering, but we're still going to show you. So the flowers aren't in full bloom, but there are some flowers in bloom, and Kaylin has got beautiful flowers everywhere in the yard. And I wanted to point that out because years and years ago, Phil used to do bees, and he's got all the equipment for bees. And I keep telling him, because I've got bees, to do bees. And he wants to do that, but it's a project he's just not prepared to do right now. He doesn't have time for it, which is very wise, because my wife and I are famous for putting the cart before the horse. And we're just now starting to learn, set everything up, be prepared before you engage in another project. Make sure that you can spend the time and resources to be successful at it. And that's, Phil tells me someday he'll get to bees, but right now he's got too many other things going on, and he couldn't do it adequately. Okay, here, let me introduce you to Phil. He was behind the camera here a minute ago. He wanted to show you, he's got a chicken tractor here. And Phil, you want to explain a little bit about your chicken tractor and how you move it around?
Okay, well, I've got just a hand truck, and I put a ball on the bottom, and I can slide that under the ball here and lift it. But come to the back, and I'll show you the wheels. Just slide this down, and it sits on a notch, and that action levers the wheels down and the body up. So with the, what's it called, with the hand truck on that end and these wheels up, I can roll it real easy. And I put everything on the inside. The water and the feed trays are hanging on things so that I don't have to pick them out of the way before I can move it. So it made moving the tractor much faster, much easier. Right now I've only got one chicken in here, and I have to move it about every 5 days, I guess. That's it.
Okay, and how many chickens will this ultimately hold?
Oh, well, I've only ever had 3 is the total I've ever
Okay.
had. It's plenty, though.
But it's a one-man operation.
Yep.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, now we're going to take a look at their raised bed garden. You can see they've built a little entryway and gate and just fixed it up real pretty. Now, Phil and Kaylin have been gardening for 35, 40 years, and these beds traditionally were more like these beds here, where they were 2 or 3 timbers high. But as they've been adding to the garden, they've raised them up much higher, partly because as we age, it's harder and harder on our backs to bend over, and this makes it a lot easier to work in the garden. So, Phil, you want to,
okay,
here's the water.
The bed's bare right now, other than one big kale plant. But I wanted to show this water system. You've seen this on other videos, but anyway, with the water, I've drilled holes in here at about every 10 to 12 inches. And those, I was going to say, there's 3/16 is the size. My first ones I tried 1/8 inch, and it was so big that all the water would come out the first holes. There wouldn't be enough pressure to get the water to the end of the pipe. So with 3/16 diameter, it really works. And then each bed has a throttle or a valve on it, so I can turn the water for each one up and down.
And I see that these are closed loop. Is that important for the pressure, or?
I think it just gets water to each end better.
This used to be spinach,
And
but
then,
they've all died
like I
out.
said, throttle, and they have to be level. If it's 1 inch off, all the water will go to the low end. it's just amazing how it does that. So.
Okay. Kaylin, why don't you show us around a little bit, and I want to see your flowers. Talk about your flowers.
This used to be spinach, but like I said, it's July, so they're done. The beets are done pretty much. Peas and beans, that was
Got beets.
raspberries, asparagus. This is watermelon patch. Got 20 watermelon in there.
And look at the watermelon coming.
Yeah.
Now, did you trim these?
Yep, they're all trimmed. See?
So
Right after the plant.
So explain how that works.
Well, you trim it off, according to Bob, you trim it off so that all the energy of the plant goes to the melon or to the fruit rather than to more vine.
Okay, so what she's saying is when you grow a watermelon, cantaloupe, anything like that, once the melon gets put on, you cut the stem after the melon, and then all the energy goes to building that melon. Instead of making a lot of small ones, you make some really nice sweet melons that way.
And here's some cantaloupe for the same purpose.
Cantaloupe, we work the same way.
Cut off after the fruit.
Putting them on the fence, letting them hang down, that's a good idea.
Beans, this used to have peas, and now it's got beans.
Okay.
And here's the tomatoes, and they're pretty much done. The heat's got to them.
Yeah, tomatoes don't do so well when it gets this hot.
There's the peppers, but we got them strung up, and then they're hung up on little clips to hold them up vertical, so they don't get on the ground, because you don't want your tomatoes rotting on the ground. You want them vertical.
Yeah, great idea. Look at the squash.
It's been a really good year for squash this year. Yellow and zucchini.
Oh, there's some zucchini in there. And
I put a wire mesh circle, wire mesh of this fencing.
so like a tomato cage.
Yeah, but it's huge.
Yeah.
When they're just small plants, and that helps them go upright, and they're not on the ground either.
Okay.
And I come over, here's one that's about ready. And this is just a mixed bed. I had cabbages over winter, and carrots we planted this spring, and the beets.
And there's some tomatoes. They're looking better than the others.
Yeah, that's an offshoot. The grandkids helped me plant it so things get where they are.
So show me your flowers here. What the purpose of these are.
This is the marigolds that my grandkids helped me plant, and they collect bees, and bugs come to them rather than to our plants. The bugs will go there.
So the bad bugs are more attracted to the marigolds, and they won't bother the garden. And the pollinators are also attracted to the pretty colors, and then they'll help pollinate the garden.
Yeah.
Excellent. Another feature I wanted to show you in their garden is their repurposing of carpet. They've collected any carpet place that sells carpet and installs will have old carpet that they love to give away, and it makes for an excellent weed barrier. And you can see it's pretty weed free and easy to work with. And when it rains, because it can dry out, it doesn't mold or rot. And I think you said you've had some carpet almost 20 years?
Well, no, I'd say 6.
6 years, oh, okay. Also, can you tell us real quick, because I know there's a big difference between watering the raised bed garden and watering in the aquaponics.
Okay, these beds, the way they're set up, you can see the pipes. I water 7 minutes in the morning and 7 minutes in the evening, and the water spouts, maybe 3-4 inches high out of those holes. And I've measured it with a little gauge, and it takes about 120 to 150 gallons each watering. So that's what, 240 to 300 gallons a day to water this, and that's about as stingy as you can get. And these things really, 7 minutes is not much, but anyway, it keeps it alive. The aquaponics bed I've measured, it uses 85 gallons a week.
Okay. All right, so we'll go over, let's look at your food forest area, and then we'll go and do your aquaponics. All right, so here is their first edition of trying to put together a bit of a food forest. You can see they've dug out here and put the dirt, and they've done this all by hand, so it's a lot of hard work. But they've got pineapple guava bushes that they've started in here, and they've planted some ground cover. Again, being the end of June, it's very hot and things are having a hard time growing. But anyway, this does trap and hold water, and it's a good start. That's one thing I really enjoy about Phil and Kaylin is everything I do out at my farm, they're always anxious to give it a try here at their place. So over here, as we pan, we've got a wicking bed garden, but I want to give you a good shot of this greenhouse. It's a really cool aquaponics greenhouse. I'm going to show you, he's got a man cave in there, and he's even got some special things growing in the aquaponics I want to take a good look at. Real quick, I'm going to show you, I've done a video on my wicking beds. They've done wicking beds as well. Here's their wicking bed garden, and right now they're growing blueberries, which will not grow here in Central Texas unless you have a special garden, and I hope they don't mind, but I'm going to sneak a couple. Yep, they taste good.
Yep.
So, and these are easier on watering too, aren't they, Phil?
Yeah, they're easier on water, but I haven't measured. Well, right now they're taking about 2.5. These bigger plants take about 2.5 gallons a day.
Okay, but that's still probably better than the raised bed garden.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into the greenhouse.
We're going to show our rain collection system that I use to try and pretty much keep the aquaponics bed with. I've just made it out of 4-inch PVC pipe because the fittings are cheaper. You get all the U's and joints and T's are all cheaper than the rain gutter type stuff. So anyway, that's how I do it. I just built a ledge for them to sit on. That was easy. And I collect off of just one side right now. Collect into this one. I've got these two tanks hooked together so they're the same level. And then overflow goes into this one. That's just the Everett catch basin. And this is what I water both the, well, this one is for the wicking beds and also refill if the fish need more water.
Okay, and you also have a rain collection on the back, right?
Yep. And
now, is this tank here on the back the one when you showed us the sink? Is this how you bring water into the greenhouse?
yes, this is the main one for the greenhouse. All it collects on is a 16 by 10 roof, and it just comes right off into this 300 gallon. And I've been feeding off this guy for about, well, the last rain was well over 3 weeks ago, and it's dropped down to about 150 gallons. It's still in there.
All right, welcome to the aquaponics system. I want to show you, we'll start back here, go into your man cave there, and we'll talk about that for a little bit.
It's basically these benches are over the top of the fish are down in here. The bed's partially sunk in the ground. It's 2.5 feet deep total, 8 by 4 feet wide.
There's about a 500 gallon?
Yeah, about 500 gallons. And the catfish, in a matter of 15 months, will go from 5 inches long to 2.5 pounds.
Cool. Show us around in your work area. 'Cause you got to have a work area if you're gonna.
Okay. And if you can see it, compost tea maker right here.
Very important.
And if I can, I pump right out of the fish water to start with it, or I've got a basin of water with well water in it. I've also got right outside a rain barrel collection, so I can collect rain and put it. Right now, it's being fed automatic with a pressure valve that when it gets low, it brings in water from the rain barrel.
And I say most important, you've got the refrigerator to stock all your cold drinks, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, work area is almost mandatory. And the other thing you'll see, a lot of gardens have narrow aisles. I went 30-inch aisles just so I can get both carts in there. I mean, plants will grow into the aisles so bad that you can't get through them. So that's another one.
That's a good point to leave. You go around this way. I want to show you. So if you can see over by Kaylin there, all these tomato plants. And you see they're doing much better here in the aquaponics system than they are outside. Even though this is a greenhouse, he does have a shade cloth on it. But
Then at the top.
the thing about aquaponics is plants sense the temperature from their root system. And since the water is down here underground or in the ground, the water doesn't get above 80 degrees. So even though it might be 100 here in the greenhouse, the plants think it's 80. And they do much, much better. Now, Phil, can you show real quick? Because you've taken some cuttings, cut the suckers off, and you just stuck them here in the raft bed, right?
Yeah, those were 4 inches high 3 weeks ago. I planted them on June 3rd, and it's now June 28th.
So just by sticking a sucker from the tomato plant into the raft system, then it sprouts, and yeah, let's take a look. Look at all that. Look at all the roots, and
Fresh roots.
that's amazing how things can propagate in a greenhouse. Also, quick, show me all the. You got 1 million tomato plants there. Why do you have all those tomato plants?
It's the same day we did that, I pulled out, there were 3 tomato plants that just covered this whole area
Like
from
this.
last fall.
Like this.
They were huge, and they were sucking up a lot of water, and they were unmanageable. So I pulled them out, and the tomatoes that were just had fallen into the gravel, this is what came from those. Those are, again,
So these are all volunteers.
all volunteers, and
So then you
I'll
can
pull them
do
out
that.
soon.
Okay, so the way this works is you've got 4 gravel beds, and the pump and the fish pump up into these gravel beds. Yeah, look at that.
And then you transplant wherever you want.
And then the gravel beds drain into the raft bed, and that drains back to the fish. So you've got a perfect little ecosystem here.
And here's
It's
the lettuce.
phenomenal.
This is how you plant lettuce.
There, Kaylin is seeding the lettuce.
Yeah, those got away from us, got a little old, so I let them. There's 3 varieties, with one in the aquaponics, and then those 2 that.
So the beauty of letting your plants go to seed is that the children are always smarter than the parents. They're more acclimated to their environment, and so the new lettuce will even grow better in this system. Now I want to show the big ticket item here in the greenhouse. Show us what you've got going, because I don't think anybody else has ever done this in a aquaponics system.
Satsuma orange tree. It's 2 years old. I had one outside and it died in the 2011 drought. No, it was the freeze that winter. Anyway, this started out about that tall, and it's near doubled every year. But anyway, it's only 2 years old. But we've got fruit on it this year. Last year it didn't have any. But
gonna
it's
get
growing
14
great.
feet high.
It's growing great in just an aquaponics bed, and this is a flood drain system. I have it watered 10 minutes every hour, basically. So that's the 2 beds alternate on a flood drain system.
And it will grow all the way to the top, 14 feet.
That's great. That's why you built the greenhouse so tall.
Right. We plan to put more in later.
Another plant that grows super fantastic is stevia. Stevia is hard to sprout. I mean, yeah, it's hard to sprout. It seems like a whole package of seeds you get one plant. You can just break off a little branch, stick it in the gravel, and it grows. It never shows a sign of shock. Aquaponics is amazing for starting stuff. If that's all you get. But anyway, and then some comfrey was growing that I transplanted. I just divide and plant it out in the.
So before we end, I wanted to mention you told me, even though you've raised bed garden most of your life, having added this aquaponics system in 2011 has still taught you many things that have been very beneficial into the dirt and other gardening areas. Is that?
Yeah, it really has made a tremendous difference. Compost tea and starting our own, and you know, when I do the compost tea here, I also put it out in the garden, and it's made a tremendous difference. We've upped our scale of compost in general, and that's been a real boon. Raised beds are a real boon anyway, but aquaponics and the fish taste wonderful. Got catfish. That's what I'm growing.
Yeah, great. Well, I want to thank you and Kaylin for allowing us to view your place, and this is Bob Hall with Hallsome Farm. Thank you for watching, and if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel.